Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. It is Wedding Wednesday, which means new video. Today I am very excited because I'm bringing on a special guest. My special guest is funny, hardworking, a little bit sassy, a little bit annoying, very handsome. This week's special guest is my husband, Jonny. This is Jonny, Jonathan Delgado Bozo, aka JDBTO. And I have brought him on for this week's video because Mr. Jonny is actually a wedding veteran. So Jonny has been in the wedding industry for quite some time. He doesn't only do photography, he actually does videography, he does graphic design, motion graphics. But yes, he has been in the wedding industry for a few years now, but I'm gonna let him chat about that. That's why I've called him up. He's not enjoying this very much. But we're gonna make the best of this situation. All right, Jonny.
It's getting hot.
Before I go ahead and ask you a few questions, being the wedding photographer expert here, would you like to say anything as an intro?
Hello. Okay, so I take photos at weddings, and I do a couple of other things here and there. Just dabble in everything. And I have 3 dogs with her.
Cool. We're going to move on. I'm going to ask you a few questions.
Great.
Very wedding related, but if you want to interject with anything that's not wedding related, more than welcome to. Okay?
Cool.
Cool. First question. How long have you been in the wedding industry?
I've been shooting weddings for 6 years.
Seriously?
Yeah,
Whoa.
since 2014.
I didn't even know that. How would you describe your wedding photography style?
Oh gosh.
I didn't prep him with these questions,
I hate
so.
this question. I think my style in general, not just with weddings, I like to go with the flow. I like to, I think I like to connect with people, make people comfortable so that like they don't feel like there's a barrier between like me and them. Like I kind of like to remove the camera. I'd like to make people feel more comfortable than I do right now. I just like to direct a lot so that people feel good about what they're doing, and then just giving them guidance on what else to do. That's a good answer.
Wow. Next question. What is your favorite moment to capture on a wedding day?
So my favorite moment is the couple photos. I think because it's either right after the first look or right after the ceremony that we would do the session. So it's kind of like they either just saw each other for the first time, like in their whatever they're wearing, and they're like really excited because they're like they hadn't seen each other all morning, or after the ceremony when they have like the high of like, you know, just getting married and all that. So it's like the 2 moments with like the most like emotion. Like it's just nice to kind of be a part of that. Like when they're like, I'm like, oh my gosh, I love you. It's cute.
Nice.
Yeah.
Also, I sound like I smoke 4 packs a day.
Next question.
That question is leading us to the next question. Yay or nay on first looks? And for those of you that do not know what a first look is, do you want to describe it?
Sure.
Okay.
So first look is basically when the couple does their photo session and they see each other before the ceremony. The reason I think that a lot of couples do this is because it's more convenient for the guests to not have such a long wait in between the ceremony and the reception while the couple is doing their photos. So I typically prefer doing a first look because it gives you more time to shoot before the ceremony because you're not in such a rush. Like usually after the ceremony, you'll either only have a cocktail hour to kind of do photos, so that only gives you an hour. And if you have to do the family photos, the bridal party photos, and the couple photos, then that will take a lot of time. Usually an hour and a half is like minimum that you want for that. And usually all you get is an hour, but it's like really tight if you have to fight with that time. So usually it's better to do the first look before the ceremony, because then you have whatever time you want. Like you can kind of set that up however you want. And then after the ceremony, you would just do the family photos for like half an hour. I'm pro first look. What do you prefer as a planner?
As a wedding planner, I actually am also for first looks. I think that they are more convenient for guests. And I think a lot of people think it takes away from the wow at the ceremony when you first see your partner walking down. But I actually don't think that's true. Like, I think that it's a pretty special moment to have before the ceremony, and it feels even as overwhelming seeing them again during the ceremony. Even for our wedding, it was like that.
Mm-hmm.
We both bawled our eyes out during our first look, and we bawled even more during the ceremony. Yes, you did. Aside from the special moment of having a first look, it's actually a little bit more convenient to look your freshest before the ceremony, because if you do your photo session before, your hair's done up, makeup's done up, you're looking your best. You don't
like mascara like running down.
Exactly.
The face.
I mean, maybe if you cried during the first look.
People also do like 1.5 hour cocktail hours.
Yeah.
Which sometimes is a little long for the guests, but that's kind of one way, like if you really don't want to break the tradition of seeing each other at the ceremony.
Yeah.
It's kind of a workaround sometimes. I mean, there's lots of ways to kind of figure it out.
Because you can even do some sort of entertainment during the cocktail hour, so the guests don't feel that it's quite as long.
Right.
So there's always alternatives. Next question. Do you have any pet peeves when you shoot on a wedding day?
Pet peeve.
We're spilling the tea!
No, I'm keeping my tea right in my little cup. So one of my wedding pet peeves is when the couple is super distracted by just what's going on in terms of, like, you know, if people are calling them up, or if just like messaging them. Like, while we're doing the photo session, you only have a limited amount of time. You're kind of rushing from point A to point B, and you don't really have time for like all these little, like, you know, like, oh, like a 5-minute phone call turns into like a 10-minute phone call, and then if you pick up that first one, then the person just keeps calling you over and over again, and it reduces the amount of time that you have for photos. So, I mean, if you're not going to get a planner, which obviously I recommend, assign somebody to handle those phone calls, because like it's just really, it's bad for us, like, because, you know, it's hard for us to work with it as photographers, but it's also bad for you because then you're not really enjoying the moment, like you're not really sitting in the moment. So
okay, so we are going to wrap up now. I think I've asked all the questions I have. I have one final question though. So Jonny, how many weddings do you do in a year on average?
like 30, 35.
Okay, so you've seen a lot of things, different cultures, different traditions. So my final question is, based on your experience on shooting all of those weddings, like, what's one piece of advice that you would give to couples for their big day?
Piece of advice I would give any couple who's planning a wedding is that on the day of the wedding, you just need to fully enjoy it. And I know it's probably super corny and what everybody says, like, be in the moment, whatever. I think your wedding is one of those days specifically that you have to really be in the moment, because, well, you're spending a lot of money on it, you spent a lot of time planning it, and it's just a really special day. So to be there, like, fighting with your vendors, like, it just is what it is at that point. You know, you have to trust your vendors, you have to trust that you pick the right people, that all the meetings that you've done with those vendors have kind of prepared them for the day, and you kind of have to trust that they're going to just take care of you and take care of your day so that you can enjoy it and just have fun and be married.
Wow. All right, so I think that's it. If you have any additional questions, you can definitely put them in the comments below. I am volunteering Jonny to answer them for you. I'm not going to answer them. He's going to answer them. That's all we have.
Peace.
Peace.
Turkey.
Oh!
That was even worse. Oh yeah, yeah.
I didn't even know what happened just now. Okay, for real this time, happy Wedding Wednesday. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you, Jonny, for joining me on this very special occasion. You're my first.
I was just right there.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Over my first special guest ever.
Yeah.
Oh. We'll see you next Wednesday, and
Happy wedding
Wednesday. Boo!